Good day, children. So, today we move on to the next lesson from the textbook First Flight, the second poem from Unit 3. The poem is titled The Ball Poem by John Berryman. John Berryman was an American poet and scholar who is best known for his work The Dream Songs, which was published in 1969, and it was a sequence of 385 poems. He has won the Pulitzer Prize for the work The Dream Songs, and he also won the National Book Award. This is about the poet. Now, the poem that we are going to learn today talks about a boy who loses a ball and he's very much upset about it. Now, a ball doesn't cost much, isn't it? And neither is it going to be very difficult to buy a new one. So, then why is this little boy upset? Now, let's read the poem and find out what the poet thinks has been lost and what does the little boy learn from his experience of losing something. I'll read the poem. What is the boy now who has lost his ball? What is he to do? I saw it go merrily bouncing down the street and then merrily over. There it is in the water. So the poem begins with the poet asking, now what is this boy who has lost his ball going to do now? The poet himself saw the ball merrily bouncing. What do you mean by merrily bouncing? Merrily bouncing is the act of the ball bouncing down the road. Okay, and it is bouncing down the street and it is very merrily, happily. So it is happy and there it is. It falls into the water. No use to say, oh, there are other balls. An ultimate shaking grief fixes the boy as he stands rigid, trembling, staring down all his young days into the harbor where his ball went. So, the poet is stating that, there is no point in saying that, oh, there are other balls that you can buy. So, this phrase, oh, there are other balls, it refers that the loss of the ball is not something that you need to worry about. Okay, so it's like, you needn't worry. That's the kind of thing that you might say if you lose. When you play, for example, when you're playing cricket and while batting, say the ball is lost somewhere in say a little, what do I say, a bushy area or you're somewhere and you can't really go there and search for the ball. So what will you do? You'll immediately run to the shop nearby, buy a new ball, come back and play. Or you will all pool in money again. If the ball is too expensive, you'll pool in money again and you'll buy the new ball. You will be like, okay, it's okay, then let that ball be gone. But here, look at what happens to this little boy. There is an ultimate shaking grief. Shaking grief is a great sadness which affects the little boy. And he is quite upset with the fact that he has lost his ball. And he is standing there very rigid, very stiff. Rigid means stiff. He's standing there very stiff and he's trembling and he's staring down. And why is he staring down? He is staring down at the place where he has lost his ball. And he's looking there and he's thinking about all his young days. Probably this little child had this ball with him probably for a long time, and the child has a deep emotional attachment and memories which is associated with the ball. So he is extremely affected by it. He feels that along with the ball, all his memories, all his good feelings about associated with that particular ball, associated with his childhood days, has now fallen into the harbor. What is a harbor? Harbor is a place where you have all the boats coming in, it's the near the seaside. So the ball has gone into the harbor, and the child is extremely affected by this ball being lost. Okay, moving on. I would not intrude on him. A dime, another ball is worthless. So the poet says that he will not go and intrude the boy. Intrude is enter a situation where you're not welcome. So the poet is not going to go and console the little boy or go and enter that situation of that particular child. And he says a dime. A dime is 10 cents in US. It's like the paisa that we have, It's like, so a dime is equal to 10 cents in America. So a ball will only cost a dime over there, but it is worthless. It is of no meaning or no worth to the child, because here what we can see is the child has lost something for the first time in his life, and especially an object to which the child had a deep emotional attachment, and therefore he regrets on losing this. And the poet is trying to tell us readers that there is no point in crying over what has been lost, and we should learn to cope up with this loss that we had. It is, even though it is an experience of grief, you should learn how to overcome such a situation, is what the poet is trying to tell us. He says that even though a new ball will only cost 10 cents or a dime, it will be worthless here, because this new ball cannot bring back the same feeling this child had associated with the ball that he lost. Now, he senses first responsibility in a world of possessions. People will take balls will be lost always, little boy. So the poet is saying that now the little boy has sensed his first responsibility. He has realized the first responsibility that he should have in his life, that is to take care of his possessions, take care of what he owns. In a world of possessions, possession is ownership or something that you own. So the little boy now realizes or his responsibility of taking care of his things, taking care of his belongings. And the poet is saying that that people will take balls, and balls will be lost always, little boy. So people will always buy things. People will take balls is a reference to how people will go and buy new things. We human beings always accumulate more assets or more things for us. We buy a lot of gadgets for a lot of things that we feel we require. Okay, but what happens? Sometimes we may lose it. It can be probably while you were traveling in a public transportation, or you might have forgotten about it, or you might have lost that in a crowded area or in a crowded shopping complex or shopping mall. But anyway, you will definitely lose something that you own, isn't it? Unless you are that careful about your possessions. We humans err, or we humans make mistakes. So when we definitely have lost something probably even things that we have a great attachment towards, sometimes we lose that, and it happens. It might be a very minute second of carelessness, but we definitely lose things sometimes. So the poet is consoling the little child by saying that that people will definitely buy new things, and these new things will be lost, and no one buys a ball back. Money is external. So the poet is saying that when you lose something. Now here it is the ball. So when you lose the ball, nobody is going to buy back a ball, isn't it? If somebody finds the ball, that person cannot go and sell that ball, isn't it? It has got no value unless it's some priceless things. But things like this, probably a small, it can be probably a toy that you cherished as a young child, something that you are deeply attached with. What happens is, if somebody finds it, now the person who found it definitely cannot go and sell it, because nobody is going to buy back an old toy or an old a teddy bear, or anything that you own which you have a deep connection with. You try to sell it to someone, I don't think anybody is going to buy that. So here the poet is saying that money is external. Money is not something that it is just external. It is not something that is internal to you, or it is not something within you. It is an external object. It cannot buy our love. It cannot replace things that we love, and or it cannot replace things that really matter to us, isn't it? Money can't do that. So when you lose something, then nothing can replace it. Even a new object, you see, in here for the little boy's case, the boy has lost the ball in the harbor. Now if you buy another ball and give it to the child, it is not going to bring the same love or attachment the little boy had when that he had associated with the ball that he lost. So money is just an external factor. He is learning, well behind his desperate eyes, the epistemology of loss, how to stand up, knowing what every man must one day know, and most know many days how to stand up. So the poet is saying that the little boy is learning. The little boy is learning to understand the nature of loss. The little boy with just behind his desperate eyes or hopeless eyes, he's trying to know the epistemology of loss. Epistemology of loss is he's understanding what it means to lose something, how to stand up. He's learning how to stand up in a situation where he has lost something, knowing that every man must one day know, and most know many days how to stand up. So he's learning how to cope up with his loss, and that we should be responsible in our life. He is learning this from the loss that he had. So the poet is telling us that memories or love and deep understanding, emotional attachment cannot be bought with money. If you lose it, you can never buy it back. When you lose out on love, when you lose out on fond memories of a person, when you lose out on an object that you are associated with from your childhood, no money can buy it back. Rather, we should learn how to be responsible, and we should also learn how to cope up with loss in our life. What happens is sometimes when certain people, when they come across a certain loss in their life, you can see how they move into depression, or they move into depression, or they're not able to understand why such a loss took place. Okay, so here the little boy for the first time in his young life is learning what it is to experience grief at the cost of, or at the loss of, a much beloved possession, which is to him his ball. And even though when we read, we feel that it is just a minor thing in a person's life, and you might say that okay, there are so many other balls around, but for this little boy, no other new replacement can bring back the memories or the love that is associated with the lost ball. And we can say that this the little boy's the ball that is lost, it can personify the younger days and the happy innocence that we human beings have. And as we grow up, what happens is our innocence are taken away from us and we are forced to grow up. And once we lose that innocence in us, we can never get it back. So it shows that, in every part of our life, we'll be forced to do things which we don't want to do. And you should not. And you will definitely have to lose or give up on some things that you love. It can be due to familial pressure. It can be due to work responsibilities. Due to many things, you might have to give up on something that you love. But even after all that, you need to learn how to stand up, to be strong, and to get on with your life, no matter how much it may hurt you inside. Because this is the only way we can survive. When you learn how to accept and let go of the past, then you will be able to have a good, happy life in future. When you cling on to something that you can never have, then it is quite difficult for you to move forward. That is why we have a lot of these cases of depression, and we have young children, committing suicide. They are not able to take up even a small loss in their life. So the poet is using the imagery when he describes how, the spirit of the boy's childish innocence is lost. And in the last 5 lines of the poem, we can visualize how the spirit of this little boy is kind of sinking into the water, just like the ball that just got lost. And it is almost it is almost drifting further away. And the boy has to learn to grow up, and that part of him is linked, and there is a part of him which is linked to the ball which is lost, and he has to grow up and he has to learn to cope up with the loss. Okay, so that is about the poem. So the poetic devices used in the poem. If we look at the rhyme scheme, there is no strict rhyme scheme followed in this poem. And the first poetic device used here is anaphora. Anaphora is the repetition of a word or expression in the first part of certain verses. Now here if you see, the word what is repeated. What is the boy now? What is he to do? So those are the examples of anaphora. Then you have assonance, which is the repetition of vowel sounds. The use of the vowel sound O in the line, boy now who has lost. Then there is a vowel sound E. He is learning well behind his desperate eyes. These are the examples of assonance. Then you have the imagery of the ball merrily bouncing down the street. Now it is almost like, the imagery shows us that, there is a little child who merrily, you describe a child merrily walking down the lane, isn't it? So it's almost like that. The poet is giving an imagery here. He's showing that how the ball bounced down the street. He's comparing it to giving us an imagery here. Then you have repetition. The words what and ball are repeated throughout in the poem. Okay, and the poetic devices and the question answers will be given in detail in the notes. Thank you, children.